And Chris, I know you're up to Little Falls here pretty soon. You're out of here, so we'll talk to you first if we can.
You bet. That sounds great.
Going up to see Rod Grams?
We are. We're going to go up and chat with him on the radio.
Whatever radio station he's got up there. I forget the frequency, but yeah, he still owns those. And does he do on-air stuff too?
He is. This morning he is, for sure.
What a guy. Cool dude, for sure.
Very.
Well, good. We won't hold you up too long, but a couple things I wanted to talk to you about, Chris. When you were in town with the big caravan tour, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, whenever it was, a beautiful day here in St. Cloud, one of the many stops you had for that 2 or 3 day tour that you had, and when you stopped in Perkins, downtown St. Cloud. You and Dan Severson, candidate, of course, good friend of ours here, Sauk Rapids representative, kind of partnering up in your Secretary of State Attorney General run because you're sharing some same issues. And in fact, those issues are not only Minnesota issues, but have become nationwide issues. Tell us about them, Chris.
Yes, they have. Well, we're both very interested in making sure that our elections are safe and that they are reliable. In 2005, there was a bipartisan board that looked over all the ways that you could do that you could improve the integrity of the election system, and they came up with photo ID. Photo ID is a simple idea. It's a very powerful idea. It's now in place in over 100 countries and many states. And the states are finding that it really improves the quality and the safety and the integrity of the entire process. It saves money. It actually increases the number of people that vote. So there's really no reason not to put that in place. We should have done that in 2005 or 6 or 7 or 8. We've been waiting and waiting for this very simple method of making sure that your vote counts and your vote is not going to be stolen.
I remember a few years ago I was on the phone with a rogue representative, a freshman representative, I think, from Delano, Minnesota, and he was yapping about that same thing.
There you go.
Yeah. Who was that guy anyway?
If you see him, you better report him.
Okay, very good. So, Chris, then the photo ID thing, there was a letter to the editor recently or something in the St. Cloud Times, and other folks have talked about it being a poll tax. Can you defend or dispute that?
No, I mean, there's many ways to do that. I mean, states have this system in place, and it works very well. Everyone's very happy with it. It increases the number of voters. The state can pay for the photo ID for people that can't afford it. It's very simple. It saves a lot of money. It makes voting a lot safer. And the other thing that people don't realize is that the one person in the state of Minnesota who is most responsible for the integrity of the election system is the Attorney General. The Secretary of State sets up the forms and the methods, but they can't enforce those rules. The person that's supposed to enforce the law, make sure that the election is clean, and prosecute voter fraud is the Attorney General. And our Attorney General received an A-plus rating from Acorn and is not prosecuting voter fraud. So that's something I really want to do, is get in there, bring trust back to the office.
You know, real quick, Ox and Chris, Dr. Barden's right, but when it comes to this arguments like these poll tax arguments, they're just completely false, and it's time that people start to do their due diligence. The courts have already addressed these issues, both in Indiana and Georgia. They are completely false. They're not real. Keep in mind that we want everybody that wants to vote to have an opportunity to vote in this state. And every thing creates some kind of obstacle where you put the location of a polling place will be easier for some people, more difficult for others. Chris has addressed this very clearly. There is no poll tax argument. This is all about integrity in the election process.
No doubt about it. And you also brought up a point about the Attorney General's office unwilling to prosecute or even look into these voter fraud allegations. In fact, it's taken, the Ramsey County attorney to actually start doing it.
Yes, and
not the Attorney General.
You bet. The county attorneys in each county are responsible within that jurisdiction. But statewide, the person who's supposed to supervise that process, make sure that it's clean, make sure that the election has integrity, make sure that the county attorneys are doing their job. The one person in the state of Minnesota who's most responsible for making sure all that happens is the Attorney General.
And Lori Swanson is the Attorney General, correct? Right now, incumbent?
She is the incumbent. And
she's a Mike Hatch. I mean, she was, pretty much just replaced Mike Hatch almost seamlessly.
She came in after Mike Hatch, and the problem is that she's been linked to Acorn in many ways. I mean, first of all, she has this A-plus rating. She was endorsed by Acorn. And then some years ago, she actually funneled $249,999 of taxpayer money into Acorn's pockets. Now, this is something that people had called for an investigation of, and for some reason the legislature never got around to it. So
was that the thing that Pawlenty stopped, or was it too late for that?
No.
And the governor, or maybe it was you, Tom, in the House, or somebody forwarded something that said we need to stop all payments to Acorn right now.
Well, there was a law that actually permitted the Attorney General's office to funnel money to various
organizations, I guess, not specific
recipients. Yeah. And that law, that loophole, that slush fund has been stopped. But I mean,
didn't come from the AG's office.
Yeah. To be fair to her, she may have some reason for why she did that, but she's never been asked the question. She's never answered it.
Yeah.
And I think that people deserve to know why the person most responsible for election integrity in our state is linked to Acorn.
The other thing, Chris, before we let you go, is what is it about the constitutional offices minus the governor's race that seem to just fly under people's radar? I mean, you look at, for instance, what happened with the Mary Kiffmeyer and Pat Anderson race there. You know, they lost. Both of them, arguably, and I would say objectively, bipartisanly, the best ever to serve in those offices, respectively. And yet they got destroyed because they were Republicans. Yet Governor Pawlenty won as a Republican in that constitutional officer race. What can you guys do to draw attention to these offices that it seems like nobody really pays attention to?
You bet. I think there's first of all, this is going to be a very unusual election. In 1946, Harry Truman tried to nationalize health care. The entire Congress turned over. Biggest wave of 60 years. 1994, Bill Clinton tried to nationalize health care. The entire Congress was turned over. This year, Barack Obama is trying to nationalize health care with this terrible Obamacare law that we're going to challenge, we're going to stop. He's trying to nationalize health care again. Now everyone's saying the entire Congress is going to turn over. We're going to have a major wave election this year. That's issue number one. Number two is, for the first time ever, for the race for Attorney General, we have not one but two national issues. We have stopping Obamacare, and we have stopping voter fraud in the state. And now, remember, these issues are linked, because if Al Franken had not won his Senate seat, he was the 60th vote that put Obamacare over the top. So we have two national issues for this local state race, and I think it's going to make it a very interesting fall.
So if we'd had photo ID, we would have kept voter fraud to a minimum. Therefore, Norm Coleman would have won the election, both the real election and the fake election, even if we had a recount.
That's certainly the way that.
And then we wouldn't have health care. We wouldn't have Obamacare in the entire country.
That's certainly what it looks like now.
Fascinating.
I mean, the problem is that there's never really been a professional investigation of these questions. I mean, we've got two counties looking at one kind of voter fraud, and that's all that's been done.
Chris, good luck on the campaign trail. Don't be a stranger. Welcome back to St. Cloud. It's good to see you again, and stop in anytime you're around, man.
Well, thank you very much, Ox.
Oh, before we let you go, do you have a primary challenger?
Yes, I do. Sharon Anderson, who's run many times.
Oh,
she's run many years.
Okay.
And if people go to my website at www.barden4ag.com, that's B as in boy, A-R, D as in dog, E-N, the number 4ag.com.
Okay.
So there's a lot more information on there about Obamacare, about protecting the state from voter fraud, and about why I believe Tom and his team are going to be able to redesign government and put our state back on the road to prosperity.
Amen, brother. Very good. And again, for the record, you are the endorsed candidate from the Republican Party. So
yes, I am.
That
unanimously. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Chris. Good luck in your travels. Thank you. Chris Barden, candidate for Attorney General, endorsed by the Republicans, in studio today and around the area.